Well, what do you know? I had to go and throw on a sweater. The cold, I can't let it bother me anyway. Hello everyone, welcome on back to the Anabolic Kitchen here with Black Thor. At the end of our last episode, I promised you all that I was going to be using our toffee in another recipe. After a great deal of trial and error, I believe I have come up with the best anabolic fudge that we can add our toffee bits into and be able to have something that resembles somewhere between a Heath and Score bar with the chocolate and toffee put together when we combine the two. Keep in mind, of course, that this then is a great chocolate fudge recipe in its own right, whether or not you add in the toffee bits. So let's get into what we need here. In front of me, I have the ingredients we are going to need for our fudge. Chocolate protein powder, light butter, fat-free evaporated milk, granular sweetener, unsweetened cocoa powder, salt, sugar-free chocolate syrup, no sugar added chocolate chips, and of course, the toffee bits that we made earlier. I weighed the toffee bits before, and it came out to be 82 grams. I'm going to be using 3/4 of the recipe here, coming out to 61.5 grams. Into our bowl, we are first going to measure out 27 grams of our light butter. Then we will add 30 grams of our fat-free evaporated milk. We will then add 42 grams of our no sugar added chocolate chips. I personally prefer to use the Lily's dark chocolate here because they are mini chocolate chips. We are then going to add 10 grams of our sugar-free chocolate syrup. And now we're going to microwave this for 30 seconds, stir, and then another 10 seconds. Something really important that I forgot to mention before is you actually want to make sure that you have your dish that you're going to put your fudge into prepped before. I have some parchment paper laid out, and I'm going to put diagonals into the corners and then fold it in. There we have it. It's lifting up a bit, but once we start to lay down the fudge, it'll smooth it out. And once again, I'll stir it, then I bring back my scale. Now I'm going to add 10 grams of my cocoa powder. Give it a quick mix. Doesn't need to be perfect, it's just enough for the moisture to start to soak in and help break it apart so you don't have to go through and sift it. Now we're going to add 2 scoops of our protein powder. And then we're going to do a quick mix again. And now it's time for us to add 28 grams of our sweetener. And at this point, I'm just going to mix this until it is smooth. I find that using the back of the spoon to push the powder into the moist parts tends to be very successful. Great, we're good for now. These are the nutrition facts if you were to eat it exactly as it is right now, which is mostly how I've eaten this. But this is a recipe for Heath bar fudge, so let's add our toffee. To start, I'm going to measure out 55 grams of the toffee that I'm going to add into the fudge. 54.9, totally fine. I'm going to dump this in, mix it. For getting this incorporated, you might even want to use your hands. The fudge right now is sticky enough that it will hold together and will be sticky, but it's not so sticky that you need to go and spray your fingers down. Actually, heck this, I'm just gonna use my hand. Now I have this soft ball of chocolatey toffee goodness. Go away, bowl. Now we have our parchment lined tray, and what we're gonna do is just press this ball out into the parchment. You may recall that earlier I told you we were going to be using 61.5 grams, but we only measured out 55 right now. So we're gonna measure out that additional 7.5 grams now. And we are going to strategically place it on top so that we can see the toffee bits all over our fudge. Now you're just going to press it down to get a nice smooth surface. And now to finish, I'm going to add some salt on the top. I recommend that you first add it to your hand and just sprinkle a tiny bit. And there we have it. So what we're going to do now is put this into the fridge for at least 2 hours for it to set. Then we can cut it up and I will see you all then. So now the fudge has had some time to set up. We're going to take it out and cut it into appropriately sized pieces. That was easy. And we should be able to now take it out of the parchment paper with no problem. That is why we use parchment paper. Let's cut it. I'm gonna cut it into thirds this way. And in quarters the other way. giving us pieces like this. Is it cut into perfect 12ths? No. Does that really matter? Also, no. So in case you were wondering, these are the nutrition facts for this fudge with the toffee bits. It still comes in within our 10 calories per 1 gram of protein ratio. So let's give this a test, shall we? So here we have it. Cheers, y'all. Consistency is perfect, and it's so much fun having all of the texture variety. Because of the toffee bits that are spread all the way throughout, you never get any sort of a bite that's just fully homogeneous. Every single bite has different cracklings and stuff, and that's really cool. So it makes it a really neat experience. If you wanted to change this up, you could even replace the toffee with something like the peanut butter chips, because you can get those peanut butter chips for baking, and you can make it like a Reese's fudge. There's so much customizability. You do what's going to work best for you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for sticking around. We have so many things coming up really soon. We have some exciting collaboration projects that we're working on putting together. So make sure you're following my Instagram so you know when those things are happening, and you can stay on top of everything. We're going to be having some Insta polls coming up soon, places for you to contribute your thoughts and ideas. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button. I know if you made it this far in the video, you definitely liked the video. And don't forget to subscribe. I've checked my analytics. I know that only 51% of you are subscribed. So if you're watching, make sure you are subscribed and click that notification bell so you know when I'm posting. And lastly, if you could, just drop a comment down below. Talk about other fudge varieties you'd be interested in seeing me make. And until that next one, always remember to stay worthy.